So it's about a 4-week period. We had income of $21,697. We had a donation of $10,000 from William Clark. Rick, what was that for? Was it?
This is his second year. He made a 3-year commitment to us, if possible. I'll say he pledged 3 years. Last year he did the first. This year is the second. Hopefully next year will be the third. His company is called the Osprey Foundation. He's very involved in water quality, and does things throughout the world. He's quite a philanthropist. So that's
considered a foundation grant or a foundation contribution.
Yes.
Okay, I got to change that. All right, and we also had $4,165 come in from Iowa Court Green Street. Raffle income was $3,925, and merchandise sales was $2,648. So a lot of good.
Raffle ticket was 3,300.
3,900.
3,900.
25. Yeah, that includes the bill. That includes the 1,600. There's 16 or 1,165 that you just told me about.
Okay.
And expenses weren't much. Total expenses were down at the bottom here. Were $797. So our net income was $20,899. So it was a good month. Let me just go over the account balances. Our checking account has $38,750 in it. Our raffle checking has $12,559, and our money market has $25,860. So our total available capital is $77,205. So that concludes my treasurer's report, unless there's questions.
Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. I'm going to go back to share screen, and we'll just take a look at the agenda. So we're going to have the, Frank, how about if you give us a little update on the upweller activity? There are a lot of things going on right now. So Frank?
Yeah, okay, sure. Well, last Friday, Teresa brought about 200 of the oysters that we had at Caddis that we started growing last season. So they were pretty good size, and she brought them down to Theo to give them back to him. We've had a serious overcrowded problem at Traders Cove because we were growing 80,000 seed clams that were assigned to Traders Cove, and the other 80,000 that were assigned to Holiday Harbor. Since Holiday Harbor never did get started, Rick did find a solution to that problem. And if you guys, I don't know, some of you might remember that this young woman came last year to look at some of our upwellers. Her name is Tricia Rosina, and she applied for and received permit to open an upweller in Ocean City, New Jersey. She got a permit for 50,000. She could grow at least 50,000 shellfish. Like to, start it this season. So that was a wonderful solution to our problem, because I'm going to bring her about, I don't know, maybe about 40,000 tomorrow. I figured I'll give her some some silos, maybe 3 or 4 silos, maybe about 5,000 milliliters. Last week I did a number count with a 100 number count, came up to 100, came up to about 12 milliliters. So I figured out the math. We can give her at least 5,000. That 5,000 milliliters would still be under her 50,000 limit. So we'll be okay with that. The rest of them I will probably bring down to Island Beach State Park, because they had a mishap this summer, and they have room for more. So the Holiday Harbor problem will be solved tomorrow and the rest of this week. As far as the growth situation, I think they've been growing normally as they have been in the past. We've had a lot of good data brought in. All upweller captains have supplied us with data, and as of the last 6 weeks, we've had a percentage growth ranging from about maybe 370% to about over, some of the higher ones were like 4,000%. So we're pretty good. We did have, I didn't do a number count for all of the 4 upwellers in the northern area, and we started the season with 375,000 clams according to the growers' numbers, and my number came out to about 280. So we have about a 24% loss, which is probably normal. But actually, that we'll make the final count, which will be the official count, the week before we plant them, and at that point we'll see how well we did. But as far as I'm concerned, the season's going well.
Okay. Any questions or observations? Anybody have something to add about what's going on at their upweller or questions of other upwellers?
Well, hey, Frank, I was impressed with your data that you sent out. It looks like the growth is pretty good, even for a late start, which is amazing. And it was a hot summer too. So
yeah, the water temperature was much hotter this summer so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still doing well. They're doing well.
Yeah.
I have a question, Frank. Those numbers that you're analyzing there, do you ship them out or post them on the website so any member can see them?
Well, I have that Google Drive spreadsheet. That's where I put all the information on.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure anybody can look at that Google Drive spreadsheet, but I don't think only upweller captains are able to access it. And some of the captains have been doing that. They've been putting in the data themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I know Rick has, and Steve from Bart. And the rest of the people just send it to me and I put it in. But as far as sending those numbers out to the rest of I could easily make up a production email and put it on the website if that's.
Yeah, I think
Nice to have, I think.
that'd be a good thing to do. Yeah, let's do that. Other questions, observations? Okay.
Al wants to get a.
What's that?
Al, your voice isn't working.
Who's trying to talk?
Al Fazana.
I think he might be muted.
It's not muted.
I don't show that he has audio. I only show a video next to him. I don't show that he has audio.
Yeah, Al, your microphone's not connected to the meeting. If you're trying to speak through your laptop or iPad, down the lower left, you might have to hit connect audio. There you go.
I can't hear him.
It's okay. He waved it off.
Okay.
If you want to type it in the chat feature, Al, we can pose your question for you.
Okay. So, and we'll have a little time for questions and answers at the end. So let's move on to educational activities from Deb, and I'll, when she's finished, then I'll chime in with some stuff that I've been doing about videos.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. There isn't a lot to report from my end of the Education Committee, and Rick will fill you in on the progress on videos. I do want to mention that Cheryl McCurry lost her husband yesterday, and if anyone wants to go to the funeral wake, It is at Silverton Funeral Home, Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. And that's,
Deb, do you have Cheryl's address?
I can, it's on 7th Avenue in Ortley Beach.
Berkeley,
Deb, I have it. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I think
Thank
it's
you.
17 or
I'll look-
14.
Yeah, I can look it up while during the meeting, and I'll put it in the chat, and then Doug will have it.
Okay,
I have, because she's a member of our association, so I have it somewhere in my files.
yeah, it's 7th Avenue and the zip is 08751. And it's either 14 or 17, I believe.
I thought it was 108, but
No, it's 2 digits, but I
okay.
can't tell you what they are.
Okay, well, Paul will send it out. So
It's 14 7th Avenue, Ortley Beach, New Jersey, 08751.
Thank you.
okay. Well, anything else, Deb, or you want me to
No, I think I have not heard anything more from any teachers, and we will be meeting next week. I have to send out an invite, and I have to get an appointment time from Doug, and then I'll let everybody know. But as far as a report, there isn't anything new on my end.
The only other thing is that we are still pursuing becoming an organizational member of ANGI, the Association of New Jersey Environmental Education. So Rick, I sent you something about that. It's the payment. I don't have the credit cards.
Right. And I saw that. I just didn't get around to doing it, but I'll do that this week. I did see
Okay.
sorry. I just.
And Wes has agreed to be our liaison, so that's good. He's got a history with Angie and certainly a history with us, so he knows our strong points and our needs. I think that's good.
So I've been working on the videos, and I've been working with Bruce and Jim, and so far we have 3 videos from them. One is about the critters that are in the bay. One is about what goes on inside the shell. Another is about the growth and how clams grow. I've also put together one with Jim and me that is the activity of growing seed clams and then putting them under predator net. So I'm moving on, and I'm learning how to edit videos, which is a bit of a learning curve for me, no two ways about it. And I have been having some of the education committee review the videos, and they've come up with some good ideas, like your idea, Deb, to include in, and I also have an overview of Reclaim the Bay, and that was basically a production video that was done by NJTV, I think it was, back in 2009. But as I reviewed it, although I look a lot younger and Jeff Flimlin is in there, Wes is in there, it's all the same stuff. So there wasn't really any reason to redo it, but Deb had a great idea of saying that I could cut in and say, this was done in 2009. The organization is substantially the same. However, since that time, we have now put 10 million clams in the bay. We have talked to 10,000 people a year, and fill it out with some of the data that wouldn't really take very long, like 20 seconds. But I thought that was a great idea. This is what's been happening as I edit these things and I refine them. Then I send them out. I share them. People come up with a few refinements, which is helping me come up with the right template for each of them. And since we haven't done something like this before, It's a learning curve all the way around. As even Jim and Bruce and I are learning about how to interact in a spontaneous manner. I have had a couple people review them that are not members of our organization, and they really like that dialogue idea of Jim and Bruce or me and Jim. So I think we've hit upon a very interesting method. And as I get them finished, the next thing I'll do is I'll call them kind of like final drafts. I have set up a channel on YouTube, and I will put them out there, not posted. Well, they're posted, but they're not published. So those of us who care to review them can review them, and we won't be going out to the teachers just yet. In doing that, I've had some long conversations with Jim and with Bruce and a few with Deb, to refine our program so that we can explain this to teachers and have it be a very useful, straightforward mechanism for them in all of the stuff that they're trying to learn about online learning and about distance learning and those things. So we're refining that part as well. My goal really is to have all this stuff done maybe in November. So we're marking time. We're moving forward on this. We're not just marking time. We're moving forward, but it takes a lot of energy to get it done. I think the reason that I'm willing to invest all this and ask for any kind of support is when we're finished with this, I think we'll have something that will be extremely valuable locally, and then it'll also give us reach throughout the country, because the way that these come together, the point that we're making is you can learn this stuff. It's really fun. You can enjoy it. We want to have some hands-on demonstrations as well that we're putting together. We want to do those things. And the kind of the sign off is, and you and your family or your class could travel to our estuary, and we'll arrange for a visit at one of the upwellers so the kids can do this, and students of any age can do this throughout the winter. And then if they do vacation on the shore, they can come to an upweller and see the stuff firsthand. So I think that gives us some real reach. I think it's also great for tourism. I know that on LBI, the Chamber of Commerce, the Regional Chamber of Commerce, is very interested in promoting this, so they'll help us with some promotion. So it's really moving forward. Any questions or comments about education activities?
Hey, Rick, one comment on the video that you said that, was it NJTV or something did?
Right.
Yeah. Was that the one that had a few facts that were a little off base, or, not quite correct? They had reported some things. I remember one of them, but it may not be that one, but
I don't think it was this one. I remember what you're talking about, but I really don't remember which one. And this is the other thing. Once I have these finished and I send them out and I ask for comments, I really hope that everyone will take that responsibility. And there's a timeline, across the bottom, and just note 3 minutes and 57 seconds or 12 minutes and 9 seconds where there's a problem. And even if it's a small problem, I'm not saying I'm the best editor, and there may be some things I can't do anything about, but the more eyes that lay on it now, the better and more accurate, and we'll stay away from little problems like that. So I don't take any enormous pride in authorship or editing capability. Don't hesitate. It won't offend me in the least. In fact, it's really helpful, because we all know I am prone to typos and other little mistakes. So I really need other people looking at things to help me out.
And what I think will be very beneficial and very much appreciated is we're going to link hands-on activities to these so that a teacher can take the lesson on the watershed, water quality, and there are a couple of activities listed that the students can do at home if it's virtual learning, or they can do in the classroom with the rest of the class. I think when when this library is up and running, we're going to get a lot of positive feedback. And I like the idea of us keeping a library that celebrates our history, you know, that we are chronicling what Reclaim the Bay provides and giving information that the students will benefit from and can build upon.
Great. Okay.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
Rick, this is Ed. How long are the videos in general?
It really depends. One of them is about 3, one of them is about 7. The one that goes from growing seed up to planting is about 20. We don't want to, I would say our target is like 8 minutes. And the 20-minute, it's just, you can't really break that down. But 20 would be the longest I would really ever want to do.
I was just wondering if they're suitable for like presentations to an organization, you know, like Beach Haven West Community.
Yes,
type of thing.
absolutely.
They would.
In fact,
Okay.
that's one of the goals, that we want to have these things available to our Speakers Bureau, not just for Shellfish in the Classroom, but if you were going to do a talk, and if they already knew about Reclaim the Bay and all that, maybe the seed to planting wouldn't be that interesting to them, but it might be fun for them to see how do clams grow and what are the different critters in the bay. So you'd put those two things together and then do the presentation. So that's the idea.
Right.
We'd like to have the mix.
Okay.
I've been trying to find the link to the Google Drive. Is it on the website? How do you get to it? Or where's the URL?
The Google Drive that Frank was just talking about where the data is?
Yes, where all the where the videos are.
I have them out at YouTube, but I haven't published them. So unless I have sent someone the link, they really can't watch them. But I'd be happy to send the links out. Actually, I want to do one more edit before I do that. Because I want to be as close to the final so that when people give me comments, I just do it one last time. Because I've done them. It's not so long. It's not so bad that it takes the edits a long time to do the edits, but then you have to save it, and that takes several minutes, and then you have to upload it to YouTube, and that takes numbers of minutes, like 15, 20 minutes, a half an hour. So it's really not that the editing takes so long, it's the uploading and one thing or another. So
Hey, Rick, I got a question. Some of these are, you said 3 to 8 to whatever, not long, and they're specific topics. Now, if somebody wants to do a presentation of them, can they be edited together to make a continuous running video for a particular application? Or does somebody have to download little ones and then another little one and then another little one?
It would. It's a good point. It is not difficult for me to have, to put them all together. However, having said that, what might be better is if they're together, then they're in some sequence. It may be better if you're going to do a talk, if you can get online, then you can run them out of YouTube and you could run them in whatever sequence you wanted to.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's you got to download it, run it, then get another one and download it. Is there a way to customize a particular presentation? Like when we do the slides from PowerPoint, we can shuffle things around and put them in whatever way we want for a particular audience. I'm just thinking of the logistics of doing it. And
what I would suggest though is having our topic specific videos And then we might put one together and say, this is a speakers bureau video, or this is a professional educators video. This is for in the classroom. This might be for a class that, you know, Doug is coordinating.
Yeah. So the fast answer, Wes, is yes. We can put them together any way you want, and we can have 30 different varieties out at YouTube, and then whatever somebody wants to do, they could download them individually. They could download the one that's all of them. They could do whatever they want. So but the answer is it's not that difficult at all for me to stitch 3 or 4 presentations together. That's
Okay, that's all I was getting at. Is that if you wanted a more continuous presentation instead of chopped up, that's all.
okay.
Got it.
All right.
One thing that may be a little bit of a curve, but just came to me. Has anybody bought, or has anybody ever gone to a grocery store, bought a dozen oysters and put them in a tank? The reason I say that is as this reach goes beyond the bay, could somebody in Cleveland, Ohio, go to their local grocery store, pick up a half dozen oysters and take them into a classroom and start raising oysters in a classroom without us giving them to them? In other words, their tank, their salt, their water, and just outreach in a little different way. That's just a thought.
Yeah.
We've done it with clams.
And actually, I'm gonna keep us moving along because we do come up against a hard stop for the education session. Okay, clam trail. I've had some talks with Paul. I've had some talks with Teresa. Just Sunday, we had a dedication of a new clam down in Holgate. Beautiful looking clam. Somebody posted it out on Facebook, and we sold 28 raffle tickets at the at the event. So it was all pretty good. What we need is some leadership in these what I'll almost call sub trails. And so in talking to Paul and talking to Teresa, I'm very encouraged that they seem willing to consider how they could facilitate a sub trail. So Paul, maybe give us a little bit of your vision.
Yep, and Teresa, hopefully she'll unmute as well, because we've talked about this together. I can't unmute her. So we realized the Southern Trail seems to have been a success down there. And we have a couple of isolated clams up here, but maybe we should try and put a Northern Trail in place. And I think Teresa and my thinking is it would start in Island Beach State Park, where we already have one. On the Barrier Island, it would end up maybe in Point Pleasant somewhere. And then there'd be a separate called side trail, or maybe it isn't a part of the trail that would be along the Toms River, which is where Teresa's already done some homework. We have one in Island Beach State Park. We used to have one, Frank was telling me, at Baum Rogers. I don't know if we can find that one, but we could potentially put one there at our Upweller, since there's a nice little park there now. And then coming north, we could put one at the Seaside Yacht Club, because there's always a lot of Seaside Park Yacht Club. There's always a lot of kids and people in and out of there. We could put one in either in Ortley Beach at our Bayside Park or at Sunset Beach in Seaside Heights. We've already got the one in Lavalette, which Rick knows. Lavalette is going to be refurbishing theirs over the winter and putting it back out near the Lavalette Bay Beach. We already have one in Traders Cove going further north. And then perhaps we could put one at the far end on the northern at either Manalocan Yacht Club, although I'm here that doesn't get much public attendance. So maybe somewhere up in Point Pleasant near the canal. And then the Toms River Trail, Teresa, I'll let her speak to it, but she's already thought about a couple of locations along there. So we'd love to try and build the trail. We need to figure out how many clams we have. We need to figure out how to get them sponsored. I've got some ideas for that, at least in Ortley Beach and maybe one up further north as well. And I think Teresa and I are willing to kind of take it on if we can get the information we need to get it started over the winter.
Beautiful.
Hey,
Teresa?
Paul,
Teresa?
Paul,
Yeah.
if you want one up in the north, one of the suggestions we had was for Jenkinson's Aquarium. Have it out on the boardwalk at Jenkinson's. And they're very supportive. I know Al and I were working on something that's it's kind of on hold right now, but
Okay.
we'll get
Yeah,
back
that
to
would be
it.
even further north, but there's no reason not to do that.
Yeah, it's Point Pleasant.
Yep. Yep. I was thinking on the other side of the canal, but you know, it doesn't really matter. It's just a point of, and then I think Teresa's idea about putting them along Tom's River at the yacht clubs is great too. I'll let her speak to that because she's checked out a couple of locations already.
Well, there was one
Yeah.
also at that museum in Tom's River downtown. I don't know whether it's still there or not, but
Yeah, it is. It is still there. Charlie, matter of fact, checked it out, and then I checked it out. So I think we may need to get that one back because it's just sitting there. Really needs to be redone. They never really took any interest in it at all. So I think we can.
Is that at the boat museum?
yes.
Earthline Museum.
Okay, I'll check it out one time when I'm in Tom's River.
Yeah.
Right, so that one could actually go to where, say, Barnegat Bay. I've spoken to Britta, along Browns Mills. That could go right in there. Would be a good one. And I was actually thinking of one that could be almost like a bike trail because you can bike from yacht club to yacht club, and you can also sail, and the kids go to all the different yacht clubs depending on where the regattas are all summer and all winter as well. There's always events, there's fall sailing. And to raise awareness for the young, I was really focusing on the young because I think that the more that they understand about keeping the water clean, I like to focus on the younger kids. So I spoke to the guy at Pisces to see if we could have one over the bridge there. The problem with him is that he said that he would be interested. However, he doesn't want to do it unless he's getting his clams and oysters from the local farmer. So I brought him two oysters from, I forget because I've been buying them from the co-op all summer. And so I brought him two to taste them. He said they were really good. I gave him a number that Jim Merritt gave me last year. And he said he called, but he couldn't get volume. I spoke to Theo the other day. And so we're down in Seven Bridges. So I'll try to get him connected to at least one of them. So then he will feel like maybe it's not all of them and he has to negotiate a price and everything or whatever he's got to do for wholesale. So
Teresa, I know him pretty well too. And I've been gone in there to buy oysters. I do some big orders from him in the summer for some things I cater. And I've said to the same thing, why aren't you carrying the local oysters? So we can both put pressure on him.
Right. So yeah, so he is open to it. John and Bob are open to it. So we'll see what happens there. And then I spoke to someone to get the contact person for Tom's River Yacht Club and Island Heights Yacht Club, because those are sort of like on the one side, and then on the other side, I know Jim was going to call. Roy Wilkins to see if we could get one where and maybe we could get one where because he has his I can't think of what he calls it over on the other side, like it's not Pine Beach, but it's like directly across from Island. It's by Riverbank Marina, like back in there. And so we could and I could approach the same thing with Pine Beach and Beechwood, and just see. And the question really is the cost and the sponsorship. We have to get that all ironed out. So when we present it to them, they need to understand sort of what their responsibility is and whether, there's interest at the yacht club, because then we could have like a fundraiser potentially about it. these are the things that I've been thinking about at the local yacht clubs, because I think that there would be interest around having a clam.
Teresa and Paul, I'll send you the contracts that we have and whatever additional backup I have on the clam trail that's in the southern end. But the contracts have been updated and they're ready to go, so I can get them to you quickly.
Oh, that'd be
So you
great.
have a sense of what the costs are.
Is that Bill? Who was that speaking? Bill? I can't
Yes.
tell. Okay.
Yeah. So Bill, I guess the question is, do we have any clams somewhere?
No, I don't think we have any. We do not
Unused blank
have
somewhere in a where.
We have some that need to be recycled. And again, in the interest of time, let's take this offline. And so then maybe Bill, Paul, Teresa, and I will get together on another call and start to kick around some of these logistics considerations.
Right, because I really think that when you go to speak to them, you really need to have all of that
Yep.
in line, and not because you don't want to just say, they'll say, oh yeah, I'm interested, but what are the details? I'd rather have all the details when I speak to them, because they're hard to get a hold of.
Yep.
And I'm
And for
still,
everybody on, if you have suggestions of sponsors or locations, send them to Rick. He'll share them with us. And then we'll take, Teresa and I can take the lead to follow up and come back with a proposal about where we put them.
I'm still trying to track down that publisher,
Oh, right. Yeah.
the printer.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling me back and nobody's there when I go. We have a clam that we want to repossess and we can't find anybody to get it back from.
Well, Deb, if it's there, we should just go take it. I'll bet they won't even.
No, it's not there.
Oh.
They used to be in their lobby. It's not there.
Okay. I didn't realize it was physically gone.
It's physically gone.
Okay. In the interest of time, I'm going to move us on to the fall schedule. Just so you all know, as far as by my watch, we're at 6:40, and I think we need to end like at what, Doug's 6:55?
Yeah, wrapping up at 6:55 or 2 minutes after that would be good, so we can.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna,
transition.
we'll start wrapping up at 6:50 and be done at 6:55. We got a couple of important issues. Next one, and Doug, since you're on my screen at this moment, we're going to talk a little bit about the fall schedule, the rake out, and what the situation is with Rutgers and all that.
Sure, yeah, I'll give an update on that. I think this came up in the last monthly meeting in this group here in August. And since I've spoken with a couple people, particularly Richie, I see you on here. Thank you for helping to manage the Waretown lease. Jeffrey, also spoke with him. Rick and I, in addition, spoke today. Rutgers has the restrictions for no in-person programming through December. Obviously, the production at the Upwellers and the lease sites, part of one of our many ongoing collaborations. The Rakeout event is a part of that partnership, but it's a Rutgers lease site. We report that event both for Reclam's reporting and our annual reporting through Rutgers. So adherence to the Rutgers restrictions on the in-person programming, my preference right now from input and all the totality of things going on around COVID-19 would be to postpone the Rakeout to the spring and to make sure everything is buttoned up tight under clean screens, and we'd have plenty of space and screens also to plant the 2020 crop along the 19 crop side, the 19 crop on the Waretown lease site. Hopefully we're in a better place then in the spring to have a large group to do the rake out as normal. It can also then be part of the spring coastal stewardship class, and hopefully we're back to normal for volunteer time for the class next year, and even can get the students off to a strong start with a full day of volunteering with the rake out. That's where the input has led to me to that position right now, but I'm interested in hearing input on that decision.
Since we don't have to worry about raking out, we don't have to wait until November. So we can do the planting anytime in October, the planting of this year's crop. So it doesn't have to, in other words, normally we had to wait till November before we can get in there because we were raking things out. Now we don't have to worry about that.
That would be true. Last year we planted in 2 halves, a week before the rake out and then the other half on rake out day. Yes, but
Right.
planting could occur at any time then this fall. And then if in that scenario of a rake out occurring in the spring, it's conditionally seasonally approved waters. So we can harvest November 1 through April. If April's too cold, we can write it into our Rutgers permit for the lease sites to host that event. I trust we would get approval to do that in May or June when it's warmer. Just then when we transplant them, they'll have to go from seasonally approved waters to seasonally approved waters or more restrictive, I would imagine.
Hey, Doug,
Yeah.
what's the difference between doing a planting and doing a rake out from the Rutgers standpoint?
The planting could be done more. I mean, we're recording tonight, but under the radar. I mean, it is a Rutgers site, so in the eyes of Rutgers on campus, they may well view it like one of our research farms. I haven't admittedly broached those subjects. Right now, Richie and a few volunteers have been going individually or a small group to maintain the location. So planting could be done with less than 5 people. If we do the rake out as traditional, it's great to have a group of 30, 50 people or more, as many who can come.
Yeah, actually,
Lambs go dormant around that time anyway, and the predators are gone. Hopefully there wouldn't be any major impacts on survival. They'll be quite similar in April as they will in November, hopefully, as long as we have a good winter.
I also think that I think the reason that it would make sense to get approval to plant but not to rake is that raking can be moved to later in the year. Planting cannot. We need to do something with the animals. So I think it's a situation of need, not of convenience. And when Doug and I talked about it, a couple of things came up, and I think they're all very well addressed. One is we really can't do a major promotion of this, and this has true promotional value, the rake out. If we do it in the spring, let's hope that by then things are different. So we do have the promotional value, the camaraderie, the good time, and all those things. The other thing was my question, do we have enough capacity there without raking out to put this cohort down? And the answer is yes, we do. So that was my other concern, and that's gone away. My third concern or interest was that event was something for us to do in the fall. And so I don't want to hijack this part of the conversation, but I want to, after we finish this, I want to talk about how we might do the potluck or a picnic or something like that that would be outside that might not wait until November to do that. We might do that more around the October time, which traditionally had been like the rake-out time, but we'll do that in a minute. Any other questions about rake-out and planning, scheduling?
I think if you're going to do
Doug,
you're going to have to work.
Doug, the
West?
events that are outside are treated the same at Rutgers as the ones that are inside places?
Yeah, right now our restrictions are more restricted than the CDC guidelines. They did that to match first the spring and the summer, now the fall semester. Yeah, we have organized under the auspices of Rutgers Extension is virtual. If we go to other people's programs, then we have some guidance where we can at instances, but those should be outdoors, which are becoming less of an option now as it gets cold.
And also one of the things that Doug and I had talked about in my perspective would be, as far as planting goes, we are only seeking permission to be on the lease. We are not making this a Rutgers event. This can be a Reclaim the Bay planting event and being authorized to be on the lease. So that maybe takes it another step back from the Rutgers concern about activities, but it is field activity, it is outside, and it would really be using Rutgers property, not a Rutgers sponsored event.
Yeah, and
Same with
if
the
it's done in
that case.
if it's done in very small groups, as it typically is, the planting, I'll work with you on scheduling, coordinating, have Reclaim the Bay volunteers do it in a small group, responsible, socially distant manner outdoors.
One other question.
Yes.
Do we have enough nets for the planting? Because we use nets that we pull up from the rake out. This would mean we have to have duplicate predator nets.
Yes, there are 8 screens out there right now. I'll coordinate with Richie and hopefully we'll get those cleaned and make sure they're all buttoned up for the winter. There are 4 other ones on the dock. 2 I think are ready to go. 2 need some mending, and then we have 2 at the office. If we need them, Jeffrey will help, and I will get in touch with Pete McCarthy, and we'll use our extension funding to buy additional ones from Pete.
Okay.
So
All right.
should be good on screens.
Next topic is fundraising. Bill.
Okay, very quickly, since we're kind of short on time. What's new on the overall corporate ask is Rick and I put together an ask of Ørsted, the company that's doing the wind farm, or won the contract for the wind farm anyway, off of Atlantic City. So we have a request in for them for about $7,500. That would be general support for us, but also give them some, I'll call them naming rights. We put their name on some of the tents and some other things that we need for fairs, festivals, and other community events. The other thing I wanted to report on was the raffle. We have, by my numbers, and Joe, I'll make sure that you have all this data, we've sold about $3,200 worth of 50/50 tickets, which is only a third of the number of tickets that we have to sell. While we have distributed something like 400 or so, or 375 of the total 50/50 books, we have 600 total books to sell. So I still have about 130 that to be distributed. The stand-up paddleboard books, we've only got about 10 of those left to get out to folks to sell. To date, we've sold 642 50/50 tickets and 500 or so paddleboard tickets. So half the paddleboard and about a third of the 50/50 tickets. On the southern end, we've been setting up shop at the Boatyard at Causeway Marina and Surf City Farmers Market. In between those 2 locations, we've sold 64 books of raffle tickets. They're once-a-week events that we're trying to pull off there. We did some outreach to all the homeowners / taxpayer associations on Long Beach Island within the last 2 weeks, and so far we've sold about 11 books there. When you look at the number of members that are actively selling books, according to my records, we have about 20 members only who are actively selling. Now, I know some of those members are distributing to other members, so I don't have the total count in because of all those tickets that have been distributed. I only have, a total of around 1,100 back yet. So there's still much to go. One other piece is Wes Heilman, who is a member and also a wood carver, as a promotional idea, gave us 14 wood carvings of shorebirds that he has done. And Wes wanted to make it a fundraiser for us, saying that if you bought $75 worth of raffle tickets, you'd get one of the smaller birds, and $100 worth of raffle tickets, you'd get one of the larger birds. And so far, of the 14 that he gave us, we have 9 that we have been able to give to people, or quote unquote sell to people, because of the contributions they've made for the raffle. But we still got a long way to go on the raffle, especially the 50/50. That would be a great one to sell out. If we sell all those 2,000 tickets, that's 5,000 to the winner, and that would really kind of set the stage for us for future 50/50 events. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question, Bill. So my question is really around the farmers markets, because how are you doing that? Because I thought that you have to pay to be present, because I would do one right here in Toms River, or even the Seaside one on J Street. But I thought that you have to be sort of like registered and all of that. So
Well,
how
we're
did you,
not paying for space at the Surf City Farmers Market.
okay, you're not.
You have
So
to
how
be-
did you get the approval? Like, isn't there someone who, or you just set up a table and you just like are,
No, well, Rick went through whoever was handling it for the firehouse,
okay,
which
okay.
is where it's set up.
Farmer for the farmer.
Okay, what's that? I
J
couldn't hear you.
Street, J Street is no more. It's at the end of the season.
Yeah, so I think those are the right kind of thoughts, just try and look around and find some place where there's a bunch of people, and see if you can get some raffle tickets. The Boatyard, which is a bar and restaurant, when we told them what we want to do last year, they said, yeah, absolutely. Saturday, Sunday, come on down, come on over and do it. So if any of you have a local hangout bar that has outdoor dining and, and that if you can hang out for a couple of hours and sell tickets, it's a really important thing. Okay.
So if anybody needs tickets, I see Max, you're on the line. I know that Frank and Deb, I guess on the email trail, will be able to get you some tickets. So thanks for that effort. And if anybody else needs them, I know a lot of people have them out. For those of you who got tickets through Deb, if you could get with the returns back to her whenever you can, and then Deb and I will coordinate picking those up. And Jack, I know with the Beach Haven crew, you've been coordinating some collections there. If you could keep that up, that would be great too. But over the next couple of weeks, I'd like to see where we stand because we're pulling that ticket on the 4th of October.
And I have a lot of 50/50 tickets available. I'm all out of the paddleboard tickets. But if anybody is going to set up shop at their local hangout, I'll bring you tickets if you're up here.
Okay.
Great. Okay, another something else that's bringing funds into our organization is sort of a sad thing. Tragically, a lady on LBI died last week, and her family asked that in lieu of flowers, they make donations to Reclaim the Bay or to the Conserve Wildlife of New Jersey. We have had over $1,200 come in so far. I've talked to Deb about it, and I'm putting together a thank you letter, a very compassionate letter, I hope. And the reason I mentioned that, Deb and I were talking about perhaps it would be a nice idea for us at our website to have one little page that was in memoriam. Those of you who know of people who have passed away and made donations to Reclaim the Bay, I would like to try and capture some of those names so that we could get a page like that up. It's so rewarding, and the people on LBI that knew about us and knew of her love of the Bay and how all those things fit is a very rewarding thing to our organization. And to a degree, me personally, I did not know this woman, but evidently words had spread throughout her neighborhood that if she did love the Bay and that Reclaim the Bay was an organization that was worthy of consideration. So I just mentioned that. Any of you have any ideas about doing those things? It's delicate because we don't want to be, soliciting funds that way. But when it does happen, I think we really want to honor that and to make people aware of the names of those who asked to have that done. So I just wanted to kind of follow up on that. And finally, we're almost out of time. So this idea of if we're not going to have a rake out, do we want to have a picnic? And I started thinking about, well, we could have a picnic. It's outdoors. We'd find out who all wanted to come and get an idea of how many people that we'd be dealing with. And then as I was thinking about that, it was like, well, maybe that would replace the typical potluck dinner. I think we'd need to think through the mechanics of potluck, people going along a line. I don't think we can do that safely these days, but I'm sure that there are some ways that we could do that. And then if we did that, perhaps we'd move it instead of in November, since that was like the end of the year and that was the end of that was graduation exercises. Maybe we could move this into October and do it outside. I don't know that, again, in the interest of time, that we need to do a lot of talk about that tonight, but maybe that can be a topic of conversation for each of you to discuss among yourselves or with others, to see what we might be able to do in that regard. Okay, we're just at 6:55. We have any, final, oh my goodness, you didn't mention that, or what about this? Got a couple of minutes to do that.
Well, that outdoor thing will have to be in early October, so we better work on it quickly if we're going to do it. 'Cause otherwise, it's going to get too cold to be outside.
Well, yeah, I think we want to think about, well, you need to pick your day and you need to have some fire pits. Yeah, but we'd want to do it sooner rather than later. And this is the time we need to start thinking about that. Frank, maybe since you know Joelle, you and let's you and I start the ball rolling on that and look at some dates.
Okay.
Gin and tonic, is that? Or
I can talk to her. I'll talk to her.
Okay, good. All right, Doug, we don't want to tread on your educational session, so unless there's something else, we'll just sign off for this meeting now.
Yeah, as long as you guys wrapped up, I got 6:57. So if you, that's great timing. It's great timing. We can continue with the chat feature and stuff here, but great timing. We'll pause. I put it in the chat feature. Everyone welcome the Reclaim the Bay members. They just had their monthly meeting here in the same webinar meeting room. And